Hey guys, so today we're going to be doing a makeup and mystery, and we are going to be talking about Marilyn Monroe. It is 8 o'clock at night. I was going to film some more videos, but I think I am going to only film 2 more and put the rest off till tomorrow. So anyways, if you don't know what makeup and mystery is, this is the series where we talk about something that I've been thinking about the past few days. I did just do a declutter, and that's kind of how this topic came about. While I do makeup. But anyways, so I was doing a declutter, and I actually have the Hard Candy and Marilyn Monroe collection eyeshadow palette. If you watch my declutter, you'll know it stayed in my collection. And I am a huge fan of Marilyn Monroe, and I really enjoyed the collaboration, at least the eyeshadow palette. I didn't really enjoy much of anything else. I actually got rid of the other products that I had from the collection because I never ever used them, and I wanted to give them to somebody who would probably use them. So that is how I started to think about the topic of Marilyn Monroe and come to a kind of like we should cover it on makeup and mystery type of thing, because even though Marilyn Monroe's death is actually classified as a suicide, there's a lot of strangeness going around because a lot of people think that maybe it wasn't a suicide. People are kind of like, they think that she was tired of being famous, so she faked her own death, things like that, and or that like she was murdered. So we're kind of gonna get into that now. But I kind of just want to retouch on the topic of like how I came about this topic is because of the Hard Candy collaboration. I love collaborations with things like that because I love Marilyn Monroe. But the problem that I have with it is that you can give me products that look like things that she wore, but you can never actually tell me she approved that formula, she approved that color, or anything like that, because unfortunately she is dead. So that is the problem that I have with collections with unfortunately passed away people, but I still purchase things like that because I am a fan of Marilyn Monroe, and like I even have the Prince collection with Urban Decay because I am such a huge fan of Prince, even though I don't actually know if those are the colors he would pick or the formula he would pick, or even if he would work with a makeup company in general. Like, these are just questions that like we can't answer. But anyways, I'm gonna do a simple look I think today. It's 8 o'clock at night. But anyways, so that is how I feel about like celebrities that have passed away and makeup companies kind of using their name and likeliness. But Colourpop has done collaborations with like animes, which is hard to kind of like talk about because it's like based off of a show. It's the same thing with Pat McGrath and the Bridgerton collection. It's based off of a show. I don't actually know. Wow. Did my camera just get really dark, or I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. So Marilyn Monroe kind of had like a tough start because she was in the foster system, and yes, the foster system does work out for some people, but there are also people who take advantage of it, and unfortunately Marilyn Monroe was put into the situation where she was put into the foster system where it was people who didn't really seem to care, and they were just using it as like a government check, which is so horrible. Honestly, like that, like it's horrible to, like, these kids have been through so much, so to use the government to get money like that and then not really care about the kids, it's just really cruel because kids need love. Like, they need love. You need a safe and secure place to grow up in. And that's what the state is paying you to provide. And to take advantage of that is just so horrible. I hope that my camera, I feel like my camera keeps going like black, like really, really dark, and I don't know why. So if it is like that, am I just making shit up? Or is it actually going black? I don't know. But she had gotten married to her first husband, and he had left to go fight in the war, and she had gotten a job in like a still like a mill, like making the war like weapons and stuff like that. Like we know, like during the war, when the men were away, the women kind of went into place of the men and worked in place of the men to help provide assistance with the war, which is another way like women kind of got like equality, I guess. At least that's what we were taught. Well, I was taught. So that is actually where she was discovered. And I think that people became obsessed with Marilyn Monroe because of the fact that she wasn't like your average girl next door. Like she was a little bit like promiscuous, I guess, but she was also like, they say she was a little bit bigger than like the normal actresses in that day. And she like flaunted it, but of course Hollywood has its way of getting to people, and eventually she did crack and got like a nose job or something like that, and it wasn't as widely accepted, and it kind of like became known that like the press like were kind of like, you know, they could like tell, and it wasn't as widely accepted to get like plastic surgery and stuff like that back then. I mean, because this is like a very different time. She even sang to the president, and apparently she was having an affair with the president, with the Kennedy brothers, and that is actually what is said to have gotten her killed, I guess you could say. But before we get into that, she had her first husband, became famous, divorced her first husband, had a second husband named Joe DiMaggio. I hope I said that right. She was with him, and Marilyn Monroe was like really well known for wanting to have kids. Apparently, like I didn't actually know this. Like they like it was like a well-known thing. Like she wanted to have kids one day, and she never, unfortunately, she never got to accomplish that dream. Apparently, she had actually suffered through a couple miscarriages and even an ectopic pregnancy, which I have never had an ectopic pregnancy. And please forgive me, I did not research it. But it's horrible. It is. I know it's something that's like really, really horrible, really, really traumatic to experience. But anyways, she was said to have had affairs with the president and like the Kennedy brothers, which the Kennedy family in itself is not only like really, the Kennedy family in itself is like very, I want to say controversial, but they're not really controversial. They just are said to have a curse around them, which kind of seems true. They kind of seem like they are cursed, the poor people. But she was said to have had an affair with the Kennedys, and that is what is another thing like people say could have killed her. But of course, the official report is that she overdosed. And apparently, after her relationship with Joe DiMaggio ended, she was still kind of like seeing him, I guess you could say, like sleeping with him, I guess, like on and off. And she was obviously still seeing like presidents and the brothers like in secret. And apparently, according to Joe DiMaggio, the night that she died, he had broken it off because there had been like rumors that they were still seeing each other, and he had called her and said that, you know, it needed to stop. They needed to stop. And he said that she seemed fine at the time, but the speculation is that maybe she was so depressed because of that official breakup, that is what drove her to take her sleeping pills, and what ultimately ended up overdosing her and costing her her life, because she was actually depressed and had taken attempts on her own life. So the theory goes is that she was depressed and ended up taking her life after this phone call with her ex-husband Joe DiMaggio. However, there are other theories about Marilyn Monroe being tired of being in the public's eye and hadn't taken her own life. She had faked her death, because apparently there are some people who said that when they saw her body it just didn't look realistic. And there's even accounts apparently of Marilyn Monroe being spotted on a beach by 20 something people. And apparently a lady who was a giant fan of Marilyn Monroe's went up to her and said that even though she appeared older, she still had the iconic smile, and she knew it was Marilyn Monroe. And she went up to her, and before the lady got to say anything, she was whisked away by a man in a black trench coat, which, if she wasn't hiding, then duh. That is an interesting theory to perceive, I guess you could say. But I'm more inclined to think that she is dead. Because when they demolished her house, after she had died, they found that she was wiretapped, which is really weird when you think about it, because why was she wiretapped? Because why was she wiretapped? Why is the big question, the $1 million question. But then you go back and remember, she was having an affair with the president at the time. And if you remember, the president, John F. Kennedy, from my John F. Kennedy episode, he wasn't the kind of president that really the state, the government, wanted. And it's 8 o'clock at night, so I don't care about this. Don't follow my routine in these videos when it's this late. Because it's literally just me putting makeup on, not caring. But again, back to the $1 million question of why she was wiretapped, had to be because of these theories. That she was told by the president something that caused her life to be placed in danger, and that she was murdered by the government to either get back at the Kennedys, and there's even theories that she was murdered by the mafia to get back at the Kennedys. Basically, the theory goes is that she was murdered, possibly by a bunch of different people, because of her connection to the Kennedys. Which is honestly the theory I am inclined to believe. Because think about it. Bill Clinton kind of almost pretty much really did ruin his career with his affair. But then again, you also have to think back into her history, and her history is that she is, I'm trying this mascara, the Lash Brag mascara out. You have to remember that her history is that she does have this history of anxiety and depression and being sad, and I 100% understand the feelings of anxiety and depression. And I can totally see where maybe she kind of feels like her life was falling apart when, you know, her ex breaks up this kind of constant relationship that she had with him. And I can totally see how it could possibly send her over the edge. And that's something that, like, I hate about celebrities, is that celebrities are able to get pretty much anything that they want. So, you know, she was able to get her hands on these pills. You know, Prince was able to get his hands on certain pills that ended up taking his life. Michael Jackson was able to get his hands on medicine that ended up taking his life. And it's like, why do doctors keep allowing this to happen? Because I understand, like, having, you know, a celebrity as a client. I understand that, but at the same time, like, when is enough for these doctors? Because clearly it has cost not just these three lives. There's so many other lives of celebrities that have been lost because of basically doctors being completely okay with giving out medicine, you know, super duper often. I mean, like, I read online somewhere that she was actually being prescribed 50 pills every 3 days. Like, every 3 days? That's a little ridiculous. And you would think that, like, a doctor would have the common sense to be like, that's crazy. And, like, even if she said, like, because obviously, like, the problem people are gonna see is, like, Marilyn Monroe and other celebrities have the money to say, well, if you won't give me my pills, I'll go to another doctor. No, because we as humans have the ability to be consciously correct and right and say, you know, that's not normal, that's not right, you're gonna hurt yourself. And it shouldn't just be one doctor, it should be multiple doctors that say that. Like, celebrities should not be able to get their hands on medicine when it's so evident that they could overdo it. Like, okay, when I was pregnant, I had to be on Zofran and another medicine that I can't remember the name of. And it was so bad. I literally was only able to keep food down when I had that medicine in my system. And I was not allowed to get that medicine every 30 days. Like, I was only allowed every 30 days. So if I exceeded it, because I only got 27 pills, and I had to take it in the morning and at night. So if I ended up exceeding that amount, I couldn't have any more, and I would just have to figure something else out. And I'm serious, I wasn't able to keep food down without it. Of course, that's what started my love of water that I still have to this day. So I guess, like, this is a little, I love these videos because they're kind of like all over the place. So I'm gonna end this video here, but I'm gonna end it on the note of, what do you think happened to Marilyn Monroe? Do you think that she was so depressed that she ended up committing suicide? Or do you think that she was murdered by the government because of something she knew from the Kennedys, because of something maybe the Kennedys, like, told her? Maybe she was murdered from the government because of her association with the Kennedys. Maybe she was killed by the mafia because of her association with the Kennedys. Or there's even a possibility that she was killed by the mafia to get back at the Kennedys. Like, there's so many possibilities, and I really want to know what you guys have to say down below on the situation of Marilyn Monroe. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and go. I'm going to end this video here. Please like, comment, subscribe, and ring the bell. All that social media great stuff, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye, guys.